It's recording. And I'm going live to Facebook.
All right, and we're ready?
We are going live. It's preparing, it's setting it up. And we are live on Facebook, Rosalind. I'm gonna go down to the secretary's office now.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for the launch of the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs Women Veterans Inclusion Program. We just have a few items that we would like to highlight for housekeeping. First of all, our attendees are muted, and that's simply because we have a huge audience and your video is turned off as well. A recording of the webinar can be seen at our YouTube channel at MD Veterans, and we're also live streaming to Facebook. You can share via Q&A and send questions to panelists, as well as the chat. You can network and share program information, and both will be monitored as best as possible. And Ms. Denise Noe is joining us, and she's going to be monitoring our chat. She's our deputy director in the Outreach and Advocacy Program, which our Women Veterans Program falls under. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And again, this is our official launch. And as many of you know, Governor Hogan introduced this program in June, and we're thankful that he recognized the need for women veterans who have some very specific concerns that need to be addressed. And while our program mainly addresses women veterans, the inclusion part of the program addresses other traditionally underserved veterans. So with that, I'll be facilitating a series of listening sessions in the upcoming months to determine what the needs of Maryland women and other underserved veterans are, as well as I'll be chairing an advisory group to determine how to best address those needs. I do have a presentation to share, and we have a great line of panelists, great panelists that is going to be speaking to us today, and I think we have a real good program. So these panelists, they are going to be presenting, and they're partnering with us to ensure that our program is a successful one and that we're being effective in what we're doing. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to everyone our MDVA Secretary, George W. Owings III, and he's been a great support to us thus far, and we're thankful to him as well. Mr. Secretary.
Good morning, Rosalind. Thank you very much, and good morning to all of you who are around the country, literally, that are joining us today on our introduction of the Women Veterans Inclusion Program launch. You know, every day here in Maryland, we, the members, all the members, team workers, team players at the department wake up with smiles on our face and love in our heart. And I say that in all sincerity, because we know before the day is over, we will have helped so many of our veterans and or their eligible dependents in the state of Maryland. And when we go to bed at night, we know that we've done the best we can across the board. And some of the things that we do are not as pleasant as others. As some of you know, we do operate 5 cemeteries in the state, veteran cemeteries, but I'm drifting here. Today's an exciting day. And when I say exciting, it has taken quite a while for us to reach the point to where we are. In the department, we have 5 programs, and one of them, and one of the lead programs, is the Department of Outreach, Advocacy, and Communication, headed up by Dana Burrell. Dana has been after us for years, literally years, to bring in that which Rosalind will now be doing in the state of Maryland. So on behalf of Governor Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford, let me bring their wishes and greetings today. With increased emphasis now placed on equity and inclusion, I'm very thankful for the governor for giving us a pen. He himself pulled that out for us. So going back as far as the Revolutionary War, women have served in the United States military. And since then, women have served in every branch of the service, and their sacrifice is just as worthy as that of men, and in some cases, even more so. The fastest growing population in this nation, as well as in Maryland, of course, is our women veterans. Therefore, the timing could not be better. Minority veterans, as well as veterans in the LGBTQ community, have also sacrificed, as we all know, and times they are changing. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized the need to establish individualized programs to meet the needs of an increasingly diverse veteran population within the state of Maryland. We recognize that as well. With Rosalind Jones on board with us as the program manager, more women and other underserved veterans will have full attention that they deserve. Rosalind brings to this department her experiences as a U.S. Army veteran and almost 10 years with the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs program. I'm not going to tell you how much I had to pay labor to get her over here, but be that as it may, moving forward, she's going to play a pivotal role as we cement this very important new program into the department, providing community outreach and proactivity advocacy on behalf of women, minority, and LGBT veteran community. Rosalind's work will support the outreach and advocacy and communications program that is now established here and ensure that we are connected with everyone in Maryland who has served in the United States military. I look forward to seeing this program grow and welcome you all to be part of our effort today. Thank you and have a great event, Rosalind. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary. We're going to start our program, and I have a video to share with you, and then we'll start with our panelists. right. Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary, and hopefully the video that you just seen is gives you an indication of the awesome task that we have in this program and ensuring that our Maryland women veterans and underserved veterans are being taken care of. And that's why it's so important that the partnerships that you'll be hearing from today are definitely needed, and it's important for our program. So please welcome Ms. Dina Hujar, and she's the director at the Center of Homelessness Among Veterans, VHA Homelessness Program. Ms. Hujar.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Dina Hushar. I'm a physician and the director of the National Center of Homelessness Among Veterans, also a veteran in the United States Public Health Service. I'm excited to be in this collaboration with this new program because I believe that our partnership will allow us to continue with the mission of ending and preventing homelessness among veterans and their households by helping veterans obtain the services, such as in my case, housing and healthcare services that they need and deserve. Next slide, please. Can I advance the slides, sir? Thank you. Awesome. So I'm going to talk about three broad concepts. One is the introduction concepts to homelessness in general. The other is a brief discussion about all the various VA homeless programs and other resources that are helpful. Next slide, please. All right, so in terms of introductory concepts, next slide, please. When we're talking about homelessness, I would like to talk about the definition of homelessness. And this is the federal definition that's based on an act. And the definition of homelessness is a person who's homeless is defined as someone who lacks fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. And this includes either living in a sheltered situation where there's specific places that is considered sheltered, such as emergency shelters, transitional housing, or safe havens, and also unsheltered, which is private or public areas not usually meant for people to be living. And then there's also a definition called chronic homeless, and that's when a person has been continuously living in this homeless situation for at least 1 year, or had 4 episodes of homelessness in the last 3 years, where if you add up all the 4 episodes, it becomes a whole 12 months. And a veteran is defined as an adult who served in active duty in the armed forces of the United States, including those who have been serving as active duty from the military reserves or the National Guard. Next slide, please. All right, so now when we're thinking about the homeless service system, thinking about where there's the touch points between where veterans can access homeless services. So right before the time that the veteran actually becomes homeless as previously defined, there's a concept called diversion, and that's diverting the actual homelessness to becoming, in a sense, it's the time that the person is at risk. If the services are not enough at that time to prevent the homelessness, then there's this other branch of services, in a sense, that's called rapid exit, so that to hopefully get them out of homelessness soon. And this process is called rapid resolution intervention. There are veterans that require more long-term services, and the purpose of all these services is to have the goal of having permanent stable housing. Next slide, please. All right, so now next slide, please. Now I'm going to be talking about homeless programs that the VA has. Given time, I can't talk about all the details, but I believe you all have access to these slides. If you click on the links for the programs, you'll be able to see the details. So the first program is called Healthcare for Homeless Veterans, and it has many components. One component is an outreach engagement component, meaning that the staff in this program, VA staff, go into the community looking for veterans who are homeless or experiencing homelessness or are at risk, and they try to tell them about the VA and engage them in services. The next program is called Community Resource and Referral Center. As the name implies, it's a drop-in center which has both community and VA resources, and then there's VA staff who can refer veterans to these resources. And the concept of this is that it's less of a medical feel to these centers. They're generally not in a VA medical facility, but in locations that there's more people that are homeless or at risk of homelessness. And there's, so depending on this drop-in center, there would be like laundry services or computer services, so people feel comfortable getting these services, and then they'll be able to also engage with healthcare as needed. Another program that the VA has is the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans. It's open 24/7. The next slide after will have more information about it. And basically a veteran or people who care about the veteran or community providers can call this number and get homeless services assistance for the veteran. And then when we're talking about transitional residential services, we have these following programs. HCHV has a contract residential program where the VA pays community partners through a competitive grant, a contract for the community partner to assist with the housing and care management. There's a specific safe haven program that HCHV has, and that's for veterans who would benefit from higher needs in terms of mental health, substance abuse. Grant and per diem has a similar model to HCHV, except instead of contracts, it's on a grant basis where the VA engages in grants with community partners, that the community partner provides the housing and care management. And then the VA also has domiciliary care for homeless veterans. It's a domiciliary situation, usually on the VA campus, and the VA provides the housing, the care management, the healthcare. And then the other type of housing programs that we have are more permanent housing based, rather than those that I just talked about are transitional. The first one is a housing and urban development VA supportive housing, HUD-VASH, and that's where HUD provides the Section 8 vouchers, and the VA, we provide the supportive services, whether it's care management or healthcare services. And the other program, supportive services for veterans families, SSVF, when I talked about diversion and rapid exit, that is a program that provides those services through its partnerships with community agencies. And then we also have services for specific subgroups or interests. And one subgroup is veterans who are involved in the justice system. There's two types of programs for that. One is Veterans Justice Outreach. They're VA social workers who engage with veterans who have issues with the legal system and help them with that navigation and care, healthcare that is needed. And then if for veterans who are already incarcerated and exiting incarceration, VA has the healthcare for reentry veterans, and that's where the social worker helps the veteran reintegrate back into civilian community. We also have a program for employment, which is called Homeless Veterans Community Engagement, Homeless Veterans Community Employment Services. And then we have this model called Homeless Patient Aligned Care Teams. So the VA in general provides its primary care through this patient aligned care team concept, which is meaning that it's just not one physician taking care of a group of veterans, but rather it's a team of providers which stay constant so that the veteran always knows who they're going to see. And then the added homeless component to this PAC team, the specialization in the homeless population, is that these PAC teams also have the capacity of going into the community and delivering services in underneath the bridges or wherever the veteran might be. And then there's also more flexibility in the availability, meaning that there's more walk-in appointments availability than the standard primary care PAC teams. Next slide, please. And then this is the more information about the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans. The number is 877-424-3838. It is housed, it is employed by people who are trained to be able to answer questions about homelessness. They work 24/7. When the veteran calls, they'll get somebody at a national level, but then if they can't resolve it at a national level, the call center staff then directs them with a warm handoff to VA social worker or peer support specialist at a local facility that the veteran lives next to, and then they'll continue delivering the care that the veteran needs in terms of homelessness and linking them with other supportive services such as healthcare. Next slide, please. And these are additional resources, not to say that this is the whole list, but some of the resources. Next slide, please. So this Squares, which is a status query and response exchange system, is a great software process that community partners can go online and register to be a Squares participant. And with this, allows the community partner to be able to look at information regarding if the person that they're helping is a veteran and their eligibility for homeless programs. Next slide, please. And if the veteran themselves wants to know about their eligibility, then they can call the number 877-222-8387 Monday through Friday between 8 to 9 Eastern time, or go on the link that I've provided there. The VA also has this resource locator that is online. So if you're a veteran or somebody who cares about a veteran and wants to know where the VA medical center is, or the community-based, the CBOT, the community-based clinics that the VA has, or the vet centers, but don't know where they're located, you can go online, put in your zip code, and then it will show you information. And then the next bullet point is My Center. We have a resource center online, and we provide information in terms of educational information. We have monthly webinars that people can listen to. If you go online, and you'll be able to register for them. We also talk about research that's available regarding various aspects of homelessness. And then we also have information about programming. And then going back to SSVF, they recently are starting a shallow subsidy program through working with their grantees that will be able to provide a modest subsidy for 2 years to extremely low income veterans who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. They had this program in the past, but now they've expanded it to 50 states, District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, US Virgin Islands, and Guam. And then for veterans who are facing this foreclosure from COVID pandemic related issues, there's help for them, and that's through the VA's partial claim payment program. And just click on that link for more information. And then for veterans who are fallen behind on their mortgage payments, there's also assistance and information through the VA's Home Loan Center, 877-827-3702, or click on that link. And next slide, please. And then you might be thinking, well, what happens if I misplace this PowerPoint? The VA, we also have a website that we put in all of this information in one place, and that's the website address. Next slide, please. And thank you, everybody, and for the women veterans and other veterans in the audience. Thank you for your service. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoosier. And we appreciate you coming today. I see we have quite a few questions in the chat. Denise, do you have any questions for Ms. Hoosier?
Yes, there is one, Rosalind. It says, may I ask for clarification, please? In your definition, would you please clarify who is eligible? Are these available only to military vets or to all 8 uniformed services, including NOAA and the U.S. Public Health Service, as we can access services through the VA?
Right. So I am a physician. I'm not an eligibility expert. So that is true that the 2 other branches where I was one of those 2 branches, we also have services that are eligible for us. So in order to talk specifically, I would go to those links that I had said, because it also depends on other things in addition just to the branch. But yes, there are services that non-military uniform services people have access to, such as the VA home loans.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? No questions? Okay. We're gonna move on. Thanks again, Miss Hoosier, for joining us. We're gonna move on. Let's see. We're gonna move on to Ms. Trelesta Pauling, Senior Program Specialist at the VA Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. Ms. Pauling?
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Jones, for this invite, you and Ms. Burr. We really appreciate it. And I want to extend Mr. Conrad Washington, who is the director of the VA Center for Faith and Opportunity Initiative, extend his greetings to all of you. And we'll go ahead and get started here. Again, my name is Trelesta Pauling. I'm the Senior Outreach Program Specialist at the VA Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. Next slide. Today, I'll give you a little bit overview about our office and what we do there. I'll talk about our regional map, how it's divided, steps and goals on how to start a veteran ministry, a little bit about our outreach events, and a product that we have on how to start a veteran ministry in Welcome Center. Next slide. This is a graph of our maps and how we have divided it by states. We have a small office. I don't know if all of you know about the Centers for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. There are 14 federal agencies that actually have this office. A lot of people don't know about us. So we try to get information, as much information out there about our offices and what we do. This, in our office, we have five FTEs. Right now, we have a director, we have assistant director, and we have 3 FTEs. I am the senior program specialist, and we have 2 other program specialists in the office. We divide our work by regions, as you can see here on the map. And we reach out to faith-based and community organizations and houses of worship and provide information about our webinars that we provide and inform and educate veterans and their families and survivors and caregivers and other beneficiaries about what services the VA have to offer. We do a lot of outreach in our office. On a normal day, we will be going out, setting up a half-day conference. But right now we are doing webinars, virtual webinars, because of COVID-19. Next slide. So I'll give you a little bit of background about myself. I am a military spouse of a veteran of 20 years. I worked in my community as a president of the veteran ministry in my church for a number of years. The work that I did in my ministry helped me to contribute toward identifying steps on how to start a veteran ministry in a Welcome Center. And I will briefly go over those 5 steps right now. The first step is to first identify the veterans in your organization, all of the veterans. You can do that by setting up a table in the lobby, put out a sign-in sheet where they can provide their point of contact information, their name, their email addresses, their telephone number and address. Now, all of this information is voluntarily if they choose to do so. But you capture this information because you need to be able to reach out to talk to them or share information with them about what activity meetings are coming up and what activities that the ministry is planning to do. The second step is to create a mission statement and a vision. What will the purpose of your ministry be in, and what you want your vision to be? And your mission statement is basically the purpose of your ministry. What are you trying to achieve? And your vision can be what you're trying to, what you visualize your ministry going, and it also the mission and the vision statement helps to see how far the ministry has grown when you have a mission, and you're able to share that with everyone. Third step, elect officers and other positions in your ministry. Now you can have a president, vice president, and a secretary like we did at our church. And these are elected positions that you elect every year so that everyone can get a chance to have a turn at those positions. You can also have other other positions like administrative coordinator, outreach coordinator, chaplain, a member at large, and each of these positions have different descriptions and they do different things, but it's all up to you on what you want to do. The main objective is to form a veteran ministry and welcome center so that veterans have a place to greet each other, to talk about concerns that they have in the community and in their congregation or faith-based organization, and then try to resolve some of those issues. There are two goals that you may want to accomplish. You may want to recognize and acknowledge veterans in your organization by holding an event during Veterans Month in November, or in the month of May during Military Appreciation Month. You can host a banquet to honor and show your appreciation, and get the pastor to acknowledge them during this month. This shows support of them. As a second goal, you may want to host an outreach event. That is where our office can assist you. Our office is the gateway for faith-based organizations to contact the VA. Presently, we are not doing in-person outreach events, as I mentioned before, but we're doing virtual webinars. We are collaborating with faith-based organizations and individuals. If you want to partner with our office, however, please reach out to me. The last slide in this presentation will give you my point of contact information, or you can get it from Ms. Jones. Next slide. The last thing I want to mention is we have a pocket guide. It's just actually the size of a postcard, and then it talks about how to start a veteran ministry or welcome center. This is front of the pocket guide, and then it has a back to it as well. The back talks about the 5 steps. We can provide this electronically to anyone interested in starting a veteran ministry and welcome center. It also shows, like I mentioned before, the steps it takes to start a veteran ministry and welcome center. All are invited to join the ministry. At my church, we allow dependents, spouses, widows, and other beneficiaries to join our ministry. They were all welcome. I just happened to come from a mega church, and we had identified over 300 veterans with both of our locations. And so we were able to share a lot of information with them. Now, next slide, please, Ms. Jones. The last thing I want to give you is our point of contact information. Again, our director is Mr. Connor at Washington, and our website information is here, www.va.gov/CFBP, and our email address is vacfbmp@va.gov. Please reach out to our office if you would like to start a veteran ministry, or you would like to subscribe to our webinars. We have all of our future webinars are listed there. We also have recording of past webinars where you can go and actually chime into those recordings. We also have information that we get from other faith centers that we share with everyone. We share them with all of our internal VA centers, like the Center for Women's Veterans, the Center for Minority Veterans. All of our centers we share information with, and we meet with other faith centers around the nation weekly And they also share information with us that we're able to share with everyone about all veteran programs, to include women programs. We share that information with everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on today, Ms. Jones. I appreciate you all and all the work that you're doing in Maryland. And I thank all women veterans online today for your service. We recognize and appreciate you. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day in advance, and happy Veterans Month to all of our women veterans out there. We love you and we thank you so much for your service. Thank you.
Ms. Pauling, we have one question for you in the Q&A. It says, are these ministries part of bigger churches?
Are these ministries part of bigger churches?
Yes, ma'am. Can they be part of bigger churches, I think is the question.
Well, how to start you mean a veteran ministry? Can a veteran ministry be in any church? Yes, absolutely. They're not only in houses, faith-based community organizations. You can actually start a veteran ministry in your house of worship. I'm not sure if I answered the question or not, but.
Thank you.
All right.
Any
Are
more
there any more
questions?
questions?
There's no other questions. Thank you.
Okay, I provided my point of contact information at the end. I'll be glad to reach out to anyone if they need additional information on how to start a veteran ministry and welcome center in your organization or in your house of worship. Thank you again.
Thanks again, Ms. Pauling. I appreciate your time and for joining us. And if you're like me, I didn't know this program existed either. And I just want to remind everyone, even with the previous slides from Ms. Hoosier, that these slides will be available on our YouTube channel at MD Veterans. So you can go back at any time and review the information. So thanks again, Ms. Pauling. Now we are going to welcome Ms. Ashcraft with Maryland's commitment to veterans.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today, Rosalind. I'm the director of Maryland's Commitment to Veterans. We, as an organization, have been working with the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs since our inception in 2008. So we're really excited to be included today and looking forward to working, partnering with Ms. Jones around from the behavioral health perspective and being able to collaborate on how we can better serve our women, LGBTQ+, and other more underrepresented or under taken care of groups of the veteran population, so we can better facilitate taking care of those issues and those gaps and working together as a team. So really excited to be part of this. We, as an organization, work under the Maryland Department of Health. So I'm going to have you change to the next slide for me. So like I said, we work very closely with Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs. We also work with the federal VA. We work with Department of Labor, Higher Education Commission, and many others to provide and connect service members, veterans, and their families with behavioral health services and wraparound services. So what does that mean? So that means connecting them with mental health and substance use services. We provide information and referrals related to employment, education, housing, VA benefits, behavioral health, help people fill out those crazy forms that are all put for them to apply for different things. So it's really an opportunity to connect service members, veterans, and family members with a multitude of organizations to make sure that they're getting the services that they need. We conduct outreach and training. We have a symposium coming up soon, so I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. And if you can hit the next slide for me, please. So our program, really for eligibility, this is important. You have to reside in Maryland or be stationed in Maryland. You must have served or are currently serving, of course, in the U.S. Armed Forces. But it doesn't matter if you're active duty, guard, or reserve, or length of service. And it also, if you are no longer in the military, it doesn't matter your discharge status. And that's huge because for many organizations, there are requirements as far as length of service and discharge status. And so we support regardless. Next slide, please. So we're a team of, currently a team of 5, soon to be a team of 6. We have 4 regional resource coordinators, 4 regions of Maryland. So they are very connected with the commissions, coalitions, collaborations, and service organizations within the counties that they serve. And so we love to work and connect with all of our service members, veterans, and family members across the state. Next slide, please. So what we offer, we have a 24/7 referral line. So that information will be at the end of the presentation. We connect with individuals through our service line, email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we are doing in-person events. So if there are events in your area, please, and you would like representation from us, please feel free to connect with us. The real core of having the regional resource coordinators is so that we can develop personal relationships in the areas that we serve. So when an individual contacts us through our multitude of ways to contact us, we try to link them with the same regional resource coordinator each time they contact us to build that relationship, and so that you feel heard, understood, and connected, and that we can continue looking for ways to best support your needs. Next slide, please. So what do we provide? Our first and foremost is connecting with mental health and substance use services. So we screen for appropriate services. So whether you need immediate services, you want to connect through VA, or you prefer an alternative provider for whatever reason, we connect with additional services in the community throughout the state and local behavioral health systems and nonprofits. In regard to case management and referral services, the regional resource coordinators coordinate service needs with your VA case manager if you have one, or other service providers, so that we can provide information to both you, the case manager if you have one, regarding any referrals or assistance that you're requesting or in need of. As far as peer support, we have this fantastic program we're so excited about that Dina Carr from our Eastern region created back in April of last year, and it's called Operation Roll Call. And what that is, it provides an opportunity for service members and veterans residing in Maryland to sign up for a weekly or bi-weekly phone call or text, your preference, to really connect with an individual. It'll be the same person every time, to just chat, to find out how we can best support you and assist with helping you feel connected with others, since feeling disconnected is a unfortunately a common occurrence among our veteran population, especially during COVID. We also currently offer crisis funding, one-time crisis funding for service members and veterans who require assistance with behavioral health or behavioral health supportive services. And it's a one-time grant of up to $500. And I know that Dina is putting together more information about that to be shared with providers. So please, if you have interest in connecting with us regarding those things, let us know. We will get that information to you about what we do provide and how it's provided. As far as training and education, we host a number of education events during the year that include training for crisis intervention teams. So David Galloway works side by side with the VA to train our crisis intervention teams across the state. We provide digital peer support. We do suicide prevention, and we host several symposiums during the year, along with many others. Next slide, please. So upcoming virtual event, the big thing I know is posted on Facebook through MDVA, our upcoming virtual symposium that's going to focus on substance use in the military and veteran space. And next slide. Sorry, I'm going so fast. Additional program highlights were part of the Maryland Governor's Challenge. There's information about that as well on the MDVA site, and working to develop a military civilian coordinated community response program in Maryland. Next slide, please. And lastly is our contact information. Feel free to contact us. As you can see, we have multiple ways to connect with us through email, phone, website, social media.
Thank you so much, Joy. I appreciate your time. Are there any questions for Ms. Ashcraft?
Yes, there is one that says, again, Joy, your services are available only to U.S. Armed Services members and veterans, or as recognized by the 1984 Maryland statute, NOAA and U.S. Public Health Service. Are they also eligible for your services?
So currently it is the U.S. and the Coast Guard.
Joy, can you say that again? You were breaking up.
Oh, sorry. Currently, it is the 5 armed services and the Coast Guard.
Okay.
And that's the only question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Ashcraft. We appreciate you and the services that you're providing to our veterans. Now, please welcome Mr. Kendrick with the Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training, also known as MDVA.
Hey, good morning, Ms. Jones, and good morning, everyone. I want to welcome Ms. Jones to the team, so to speak. I've been a longtime collaborator with Secretary Owens, Dana, and I've worked with Denise, and they have been great assistance to our program, MDVA. MDVA stands for the Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training. We are considered one of the boots on the ground organizations in terms of providing service for homeless veterans. I would like to say that, of course, as Ms. Hosher talked about earlier, homelessness is not something that many veterans can be prepared for, but it's good to know that services are provided. And of course, letting them know where they can go to receive those services is a big, big assistance to them. And we're very proud that in next month, going on 27 years, we've been able to provide service for over 11,000 veterans, and we continue to do that. And of course, with your assistance and today's briefing, we'll be able to provide our information, let people know that, number one, we are open 24 hours a day. We are prepared to bring women veterans that are homeless into our program immediately. And we are committed to making sure that if a homeless veteran, male or female, comes into our program and is not a positive fit for us at McVet, we are committed to finding them another program so they are not sleeping on the streets again. So I'm very glad to be here today and honored to be a panelist and to be able to provide the information that's going to be contained in my slides. And I know I've got a lot of them, and I'm going to try to run through them very quickly. And that way, if anyone has questions, they can always reach out and ask later. So next slide, please. That is our organizational logo. I have one behind me displayed. It basically shows a veteran reaching down to help another veteran and pull that veteran up to get them to the top tier of the rung as they are standing there themselves. My background, for those that do not know me, I am a veteran myself, having retired from the United States Air Force. For the past 6 years, I have been the executive director for this work center. And my commitment is making sure that any veteran that falls upon hard times comes into our program, receives the services that they so richly deserve, excuse me, and then making sure they go into a modern decor of success. And that is our commitment here at McVet. Next slide, please. Our mission, which is something that we've committed to memory. And you'll notice one of the important things it says there, it says homeless veterans and other veterans in need. So we want to make sure that everyone understands that you can be homeless and need services, but you also may not be homeless and still need services. And if you need those services, whether they be for obtaining employment or obtaining housing, we remain committed to helping you. And if we're able to provide this service, once again, we'll be able to do that. But in light of the fact that we are not, we would make sure that we provide you or point you in the direction of that particular department that would be able to do that. Next slide, please. That is a stepping stone to what we consider to be successful in our organization. Those are the departments that we have. By the way, a veteran that is enrolled in our program can reside with us for up to almost 2 years to provide those particular services. The amount of time we found that the average veteran stays in our program is close to a year to 15 months, but we've had some veterans that stay less than 90 days. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that we find information or find out what reasons led to that veteran being homeless, provide them the services that they need, and in turn, then point them toward that particular roadmap that would guarantee that they'll be able to assimilate back into society. So each veteran is judged on their individual issues that brought them into the program, and those issues are judged on an individual basis, resulting in them going from homelessness to independent living on their own. Next slide, please. Once again, a continuum and circle that shows all the services that are provided at McVet in-house. For those services that we're not able to provide for veterans that come into our program, we have outsourced them, but we are very proud to announce that the majority of services are gathered in-house in our facility. And at that time, a veteran can stay with us, reside, live, eat, and sleep at McVet during the whole time that they're able to receive those services. Next slide, please. Our benefits section is also able to provide entitlements. A lot of veterans come in needing entitlements and other things they'll need in terms of background to work within the organization itself. I can't emphasize enough that I do not truly believe that a veteran chooses to be homeless. And I do believe that those veterans that present with issues, it must be addressed first. There is, of course, McVet's goal is to provide housing. McVet's goal is to provide employment. But we do believe that if those issues are not looked at first, that housing and that employment cannot be judged as a success if it still leads to the veteran going back into homelessness again. We've taken it upon ourselves at McVet now. We provide our own technical training, something I'm very proud to announce that we started 2 months ago. We now allow veterans to come into our program, and those veterans who are once not actually enrolled in the program to receive training in IT, culinary services, automotive repair, community health workers. They have in-house training that's done in our facility. And what we reside on and stand upon is that once the veteran receives this particular type of training, we then find them the employment that is in line with the training that they've received and make sure that they have living wages that makes sure that they have the success in the model that they've chosen. And we're very, very happy with that. But we do not dismiss the fact that there can be issues addressed with homelessness, whether it be drug and alcoholism. We have a treatment center here. If it happens to be mental health services, we have a partnership with a company that is located in our facility to make sure that those issues are addressed, taken care of, and then the veteran is in line with employment and then housing. Next slide, please. This is the way to reach out and contact us on our website. We're very, very heavily involved in social media. And I can emphasize that we are open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And in some cases, we may have an outreach team that may be able to go out and pull, when I use the word pull that veteran into our program if they have the commitment and want to come in. Our goal is very simply, no veteran who has served, no man or woman who has served this country should be homeless and sleeping on the streets. And McVet is continually investing in making sure that that veteran does not sleep on the streets the next night. And so if you are aware of a veteran that needs our services, please look at the contact information that is listed there and contact us, and we will in turn make sure we do everything possible to welcome that veteran into our center, see if McVet is the best fit for them. And if it is, fine. If it is not, let us in turn find a place for that veteran that they would be more comfortable receiving the services that they need. Excuse me. Next slide, please. And
Thank you, Mr. Kendrick. Are there any questions for Mr. Kendrick?
Yes, Rosalind, there is one question that may be a general question, but I'm going to also ask it of Mr. Kendrick. It says, are veterans that reside in the neighboring states of Virginia and DC allowed to use any of the services identified in these briefings? So could you answer for McVet, Mr. Kendrick?
I definitely can. And yes, we are a national program. And regardless of the veteran's home residency, they can receive services here at McVet. Yes.
Thank you so much for that, sir. Generally speaking, anyone who's from the speaking today on behalf of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, those benefits are available to veterans in any state, territory, or tribal nation. And benefits provided by state or local governments, there may be some residency requirements. My best advice there is to check with that program. Thank you, Rosalind.
All right. Thanks again, Mr. Kendrick. And I would encourage anyone that is interested in finding out more about McVet to schedule a time to visit the facility. And I visited the facility and I was amazed. So please, if you're interested, please make an appointment to visit the facility to find out more about McVet. Thanks
Rosalind,
again, Mr. Kendrick.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
there was one question that just popped up in the chat for Mr. Kendrick. Does McVet accept women with children?
Unfortunately, we do not. And I do think that is our next phase of our program. We are looking and trying to find another facility that would allow us to bring in the family members. We do find that when we do have women veterans that come into our program, they seem to be more in tune with receiving our services much more quickly because they have to return back to the families. And so if there's one thing that we have fallen short on is we do not have the ability at this time to accept a female veteran that has a family member, but we emphasize that it's something we have put on our board, it's something we want to go towards in the future. And I hope that maybe there'll be a next day we have a future presentation where I can proudly announce that we do have a facility where a female veteran come into the program, receive the services at McVet, and while she is here, her family is housed in another one of our facilities and receiving services also.
And I have one more for you, Mr. Kendrick. I've run into this particular veteran who does not trust the government. He might need mental health services as well. How do you gain trust to receive services?
That's a great question. And that's why I leave it to the experts that I have here that are contracted to provide mental health services. You're absolutely right. There can be a veteran that comes in our program and trust becomes an issue. What I do is put them in tune with the clinical, master level, and licensed clinicians that I have in the mental health department, and they are the ones that are more in tune with how they can make sure that veteran becomes trusting of our procedures, trusting that what we've asked and said that we can deliver can be done. And then keep in mind, while that veteran is here, they have a safe place to stay. They have their own room. They're provided 3 meals a day. And of course, at the same time, we take them by the hand to see what we can do to build up that area of trust. So it is an issue, and it is not the first time we've heard that. And it's just that we have the people here that are experts in that area, and they've been so far very successful. So I'd say give us the challenge and let us see what we can do, and possibly we can be able to bridge that gap.
Thank you, Mr. Kendrick, and thank you, Rosalind. That's all the questions for now.
All right, thank you so much. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop sharing. And I am going to welcome Miss Lucretia Parker to share her information. And she's from the Women's Memorial. So Miss Lucretia Parker.
Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you, everyone. I am going to share my screen now. Well, I can't share it. Can you give me the permissions, Rosalind, to share my screen?
Lucretia, this is Dana. I just gave you permission. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. And you can't. Can you see anything now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, because it went blank on me.
Yep.
Okay, I am Lucretia Parker from the Military Women's Memorial, and I am a 28-year Army veteran, and I am the Community Engagement Manager for the Women's Memorial. I can't see it. My screen went totally blank. So, Rosalind, can you help me with that?
Lucretia, do you want us, can you stop sharing and try sharing again? Because we can see it. We can see your shared screen.
No, I can't see anything.
Can you stop sharing and then reshare?
You want to just put me last.
Okay. All right. Can you stop sharing?
It won't let me do anything, Rosalind.
Okay, because we're looking at your screen right now.
Okay. No. Okay. Can you take me out?
Okay. I'm going to take you out, and then I'm going to, we'll hear from Miss Laura McKee.
Okay.
Okay.
Lucretia, I have a question for you.
Yes,
Are you an Army veteran?
I am an Army veteran.
Okay, go Air Force. I'll cover for you.
Thanks, Laura.
Hey, no worries. Hope to see you soon. You can get this squared away.
All right.
I was
there
going to
you
make
go,
a
Laura.
comment about Army, but I said I better be on the safe side. So I'm glad. Thank you, Ms. McGee. I was going to say the same thing. Very good. Thank you.
That's okay. We still love you all.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Be nice, be nice.
I think Lucretia and I have that kind of relationship where we've done this before as far as digging on each other.
That's it. Dana, is there a way that you can disable me?
So I'm sharing Laura's screen right now. Laura, can you see?
Yes, I certainly will.
Can you
Just
see your slides?
no, I see Lucretia's.
Oh. Okay.
This is Dana. I'm trying to disable Lucretia's video, but her screen is still showing. So I don't know whether it is frozen or not, but perhaps Laura could, even without her screen, we can see her, attendees can see her. Perhaps she could go ahead and provide her presentation.
Yeah, it looks like it's switched now.
Yep.
So I can definitely begin if you would like.
Okay, can you see your slides now?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, if you'd like to go ahead and present.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. I am the senior advisor from the National Association of State Women Veterans Coordinator. We would like to congratulate Marilyn for finding an excellent person to direct your women's program. And the National Association of State Women Veterans Coordinator is delighted to have Rosalind on board. And as far as what we do and what we are about, we are the leading advocate for women veterans, and we work with Congress, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and the Veteran Service Organizations and the Department of Defense. We were founded in 2010, and we are a national network of women veteran coordinators who support women veterans and promote women veterans VA and state benefits and healthcare, to include healthcare. There are approximately 80% of the states right now who have women veterans coordinators. So thank you again, Maryland. Maryland has over 52,000 women veterans coordinators. So this position is definitely going to be a benefit to that population. As far as our slides, we're on slide 3 right now, and kind of introducing some of our members. Our executive board, with president is Lisa Narcico out of Washington. Our first vice president is Kelly McCartney out of Idaho. Our second vice president is Kristen Rausch out of New York. And our secretary is Pam Beal out of Alaska. And our treasurer position right now is vacant. And I myself am the senior advisor again. What we do is our mission is to advocate for women veterans through partnership, training, and exchange of information, identifying barriers to successful transition of women veterans and military women to the civilian community, and recommend solutions through legislation, pragmatic, and outreach activities. Women veterans, we also want to make sure that women veterans receive equitable access to healthcare and services, are knowledgeable of the benefits earned through their military service, and have an adequate and are adequate to serve on their behalf. We're advocates to serve on their behalf. I know in Indiana, I do a lot of outreach. They put me under the outreach team. I do so much outreach, and we, as far as the women veterans in the National Association, are considered, we are the boots on the ground for women veterans. And I'm on slide 5. And so, like, say with the Center of Women Veterans, we have an MOU with them. And if they have something that needs to get out quickly or that they want to promote, we're the ones that are the boots on the ground. We reach out to our individual state, and it's a great network throughout the nation, because just today I had somebody from Indiana University that emailed me and said, hey, I met up with an individual who is a woman veteran, and she has some questions. And do you have a woman veteran coordinator in Maryland? And it was like, oh, heck yeah. So it was really cool to be able to reach out to Rosalind and say, hey, look, great that you're on board. We got some work for you already. So that was fantastic. So that's in basically in a nutshell what we do. If you go to slide 6, the National Association of State Women Veterans Coordinators, pillars this is the slide prior. Is military sexual trauma. Also, we work on homelessness. We also want to include suicide and suicide prevention in our training and access to VA healthcare. And speaking of training, we hold a conference. Unfortunately, COVID has kind of dismissed this the last couple of years, but have an annual conference for our women veterans coordinators where we get together, and again, everybody gets to meet up. We get to share with each other our processes and procedures that work, that don't work, our programs, and hopefully be able to adopt some of those that are working within each state. So we like to do training on these pillars and highlight how we can help women veterans throughout the nation. And we bring in VA individuals that help us and educate us in these areas. So you can find us on our State Women Veterans Coordinators website, which is on the next slide, at www.NASWVC. And if you can't remember that, which I can never remember the acronym, just remember National Association of State Women Veterans Coordinator. You can find your coordinator on this website if you go to it, and it's /state-coordinators. Like again, I say like 80% of the nation has these coordinators, but if you are in a state that does not, you can also reach out to one that does, and we can help provide information for you and resources for you by reaching out to the state or what we already know. So that's the gist of our program. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself, reach out to Rosalind, or any other state in which you are affiliated with, or maybe even going to. I'll give you another feel-good story. Is that one day I was on Facebook, and this is how our program works. I was on Facebook, and we'll help out any veteran within our states in any way possible. And I was posting some things, and I got not an instant message, but I got a post from a veteran that was just out there reaching out. And, he was saying that he was on his wit's end, and he was just had it with life. And so I reached out, and I found out by instant messaging him where he was from. And he's like, "Oh, don't call the police. Don't call the police. They already know me. I don't want to go to jail, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "No, it's not what I'm asking of you. What I'm asking of you is, where are you in the United States? Because I have no idea." And he says, "Well, I'm in Texas." And it's like, great. I reached out to the Texas Women Veterans Coordinator, and I said, "I have an individual that's on Facebook, and this is his status." And so we found out the area he was in Texas. Then we reached out again to find someone in that area, like a service organization. I'm not exactly sure who it was, but they were able to find this individual and actually go physically see him and help him out in his struggles. And again, that's how our vast networking can, just an example as far as what we can do. And we would love to be able to connect with all the states. And thank you again, Marilyn, for bringing on board Rosalind. We can reach out and connect even more, and it's nothing but positive. So we want to help Maryland veterans. We want to help the veterans throughout the nation. So again, that's the National Association of State Women Veterans Coordinators. If you have any questions, please address them now, or you can email me or any one of our states. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
You're very welcome, and thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing right now. Are there any questions for Laura?
No, Rosalind, Laura did such an excellent job. She didn't leave any questions for anyone to ask. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and I'm excited to be serving as Maryland's Women Veterans Coordinator. So just as you mentioned earlier, already people are having questions and wanting to connect. So thanks again.
Well,
We
Laura,
You're very welcome.
before
Thank you.
a question just came in, and I think this might be directed to both Laura and Rosalind.
Okay.
It's how do you become one, a coordinator?
As far a coordinator themselves, this is run by state legislation. So as far as with mine, there's actual documentation saying that the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, the director may have my position. And I'm not exactly sure because it's state. There's two different VAs. There's federal VA, which includes all of all the states and territories. And then there is state VA, and each state is run by their own state legislation. So with Indiana, we have it in our legislation that our department can have a women's veterans coordinator. So reach out to that state, find out if there is a women veterans coordinator within that state, and work on some legislators to see if they can have one or put it into law where one can be appointed or not or hired. And Rosalind, I'm not exactly sure how Maryland did theirs. So how did you guys get yours?
Well, serving in this position, that then I become the state coordinator. So it's an additional part of my position.
Sure. And many coordinators are like that. There's full-time, and then there's some that's like almost like an additional duty, as military terms would put it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Well, thanks again. Lucretia, are you ready to present?
Rosalind, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I had to go on something else. I don't know what happened to this, but I am. Let me try this again. I'm on the telephone and also joining you all.
Okay. We're ready.
Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Again, thank you, Department of Maryland Veteran Affairs. I am Lucretia Parker, retired Master Sergeant, U.S. Army, not Air Force, as the Community Relations and Outreach Manager. Here is my contact that you can reach me at and telephone number. Our mission at the Military Women's Memorial is to honor and tell the stories of women past and present and those who serve our nation. Our vision, we are the only national memorial for women, and we have a repository that we share and educate and inspire those who come here at the memorial. The memorial is our education center, which is our heart and our center of it. In 1986, it was passed by Congress authorizing the memorial to be existing. General Wimmelbach, who is the president of the memorial and the founder of the memorial, she said that she had to look for a place for women to store and tell their story. And so it was built by donations, private donations, and it was dedicated in 1997. And so if you have been to Arlington National Cemetery, you see the beautiful building that you see here. It's pictured with the reflecting pool and the water, but many people don't come in to see it. They think it's just part of Arlington National Cemetery and the entrance and a gateway of Arlington. Here, pictured here is our new statue, and the only statue at the Military Women's Memorial. It is a female veteran and dog handler with her dog. And so that represents that I have your back. And she's gazing into the eyes of the dog, and the dog is gazing back. as her best friend, making sure that she's covered every time that she goes out. And that's our mission here at the memorial too, that we have your back. We want you to tell your story. We want you to leave a lasting legacy for those that said, yes, I will serve, protect, and defend. And also you have a sisterhood here at the memorial. In the upper right-hand corner, you see our education center that we have there on displays and depict different eras of war as well as peacetime. And also we are recognized by our education center where many people come and do their dissertation of women that have served, or if they want to do a report for children in grade school and above. Also partnering with the Library of Congress, telling our stories. And many of the museums that have women service members, they come to us for artifacts and want to get the donation. So it really helps all of those that have served, that if you have an artifact that you want to donate to the Women's Memorial, we welcome them with open arms. Of course, here you see that we can, you can gaze the memorial as we start and tour it. If you are unable to come visit us, here's our reflecting pool and the different areas that it give you some education of the memorial.
Lucretia, are you advancing your slides?
I am.
Okay, we're still with the women soldier. Okay, there you go.
Okay. The mission of our pillars is to honor, educate, and empower, and remember the future of the Military Women's Memorial. We have upcoming events here on Sunday is our last tea. You can register online for our high tea. It's of course, featuring the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And also on November the 11th, we are featuring Sergeant Major Danielle Walters, who is the second female that served and the first African-American female served for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier Sentinel. On November the 10th, we are celebrating our last program at the memorial, one of our last programs at the memorial for this year, and that's celebrating women featured by Your Next Stage. We have a wreath laying ceremony November the 11th, so please come out and join us at the memorial. You do have to register online. And our last thing that I want to mention, one of the last things I want to mention about this is we have a new exhibit. It's called The Color of Freedom, and it will be traveling. So if you have a location for our exhibit while we're closed for renovation at the end of the month, please contact me and let me know. We will try to get out and display our traveling exhibit to you and also the veterans. We are excited about our new gift shop. As you see here, we have our stuffed dogs and our displays of our new wear. We were trying to rebrand this year and wanted to bring it more to life and of what you want from your gift shop. Of course, our national registration campaign. This is how we register. We register those that have served. And so we need your story, your piece of the puzzle. It is 3 million women that have served in this country, and we don't have all of your stories. It's only right now, we have 300,000 women that have registered at the Military Women's Memorial, and we need each one of you to tell a female veteran, tell a service member to register their story and leave a legacy. This is how it, when you register your story, you can put as much as little that you want to register. Here I chose Emily, Second Lieutenant Emily Perez, because she is a Maryland veteran. Emily is no longer with us, but she had served at West Point, and she was the first Command Sergeant Major, a minority Command Sergeant Major, and she passed away during in Iraq. We have another service member from Maryland, and that's Maryland National Guard. We have Chief Warrant Officer 3, Lori Boyer. She was with the Army National Guard, and as you see, she didn't put too much on there because maybe your memorable experience might have been something positive or negative. We still want to hear from you. So it doesn't have to be filled out. We just wanted you to register, but leave a lasting impression and legacy for those to find you or just wanted to remember you. I also wanted to share this wonderful young lady. Her name is Lieutenant Helen Blassingham. She had her story registered, as you see at the bottom. And we gave her the proclamation for the Living Legend Proclamation. Helen turned 98 years young, and we wanted to feature her. And so if you know any of those wonderful women that have served this country, that have done outstanding things, especially if they're over the age of 75, please let us know. We want to recognize them and tell them thank you for their service. That's the least that we can do. How you can help us? Well, again, it goes back to telling each one of the service members that you know to share their story and experience here at the memorial and also registered. There's only 15% of veterans, but only 1% of women veterans that is currently registered and serving in the United States. As members and as you register at the Women's Memorial, you have these different benefits. So we are connecting and also partnered with Prudential as they do self-assessment tools in your finances and have programs, as well as Excelsior College and the benefits of zero application fees and enrollment, and also Recruit Military. Just October the 15th or 17th, we had Recruit Military come out with Booz Allen Hamilton and Amazon to do a hiring fair in some of my partners, especially with Excelsior College and also Center for Women Veterans that have shared their experiences also for you as a member of the memorial. We did headshots as well during that event. So stay connected to the memorial. Here are some of the ways that you can give back as well. We are a CFC and our number is registered. You can write a check. We're also registered with Wreaths Across America this year, and you can donate and purchase wreaths from us on our website. Also connected to Amazon Smiles. You know, it's upcoming Christmas time, and you can go to Amazon, but remember the Women's Memorial and select us as one of, and shop with Amazon, as well as our matching employment contribution and stock, and also your rollover IRA. Here, I do want to share with you your memorial.
To the women who have served on active duty when the world was at war, let this memorial stand as testimony. Those who shouldered the demands of quieter times, to all women who have protected and defended this nation. Let it serve to enhearten women who faithfully serve in our military today.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. This is your memorial. As you see at the top, we have glass tablets, and the view is beautiful, overlooking Arlington National Cemetery, and also here front. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask at this time.
Okay,
Thank you
Lucretia.
so much, Lucretia. Go ahead, Denise.
Yeah, thank you, Lucretia. I think you answered most of the questions that had come up, but there's still a couple just probably bear repeating. Someone asked about the actual location of the memorial at the entrance to Arlington. Could you just clarify that? How
Yes.
folks find it? Yeah.
Yes, so when you come into Arlington National Cemetery, you drive directly into our memorial. And so it's the entranceway of Arlington National Cemetery. And you will see us. You can't miss us when you go into the visitors parking lot, and you normally go through the gate. We sit to the right as you go up to the left to Arlington National Cemetery. We're the right. So a lot of people think that it's just for bathrooms, but when they get in, they recognize that it's the Women's Memorial.
Thank you. And what hours can people visit when its memorial is open?
The memorial, great question. The memorial is open from 9 to 5 every day until we close this month, the end of November, for renovation for 6 months. So if you're going to visit, please come visit us before the end of the month.
And how can you volunteer to support the memorial?
I'm glad you asked that question. So you can register, and you can also call me or contact me. We also have a volunteer form online. If you go to womensmemorial.org, you can see on our website to volunteer. You can click on that link, and then someone will contact you and will welcome you for volunteering. And let me also mention too that the Women's Memorial, we have ambassadors. And so this is where my wonderful friend, Laura McKee, she's an ambassador for us for the state of Indiana. And so each state will probably have about 2 or 3 ambassadors to tell about the memorial. You do have to register of course, yourself with the memorial. And also we are looking for many women to serve as our ambassador. So as Laura, she's doing a great job in Indiana, which is my home state, sharing the story, her and her battle buddy out there.
And someone has asked if you could repeat again the period of time it will be closed for renovations.
Yes, the closing this year is the end of November, like this month, November 28th. For 6 months. So we'll reopen in May, hopefully for Memorial Day 2022. And we're trying to be compliant with ADA, and also it just needs some renovation right now with new things. We'll be going into 3 phases, but this year we're focusing on our bathrooms and our ADA compliance.
Then there's a question about eligibility. Are nurse cadets eligible to register and tell their stories?
Yes, ma'am, they are. If you served and have supported serving this country, we want to hear your story. So all of those, especially the Hello Girls, and those that have served during the Revolutionary War, that have supported the men when they went out, we need your story. That includes you as well.
Are there any volunteer opportunities during the period when the memorial is closed?
Right now, we do not. We will not have any events going on during that time. Volunteer-wise, you can stay tuned. We might put something out on our website for volunteer services, but stay tuned for that.
Okay. And then someone asked, how far will the traveling exhibit go?
Well, we are going to Texas, actually. This in March, I do believe it will be Texas, in San Antonio, and also in Dallas. We have not had anything or sponsor. So if you know someone that will sponsor us to travel and do and host an exhibit, please let us know. California was on our trip, but we cannot afford that going to California right now. We are 501c3. And so our sponsor did not complete what they said that they were going to complete, but we have it on our website of those that we're trying to host, and also with the traveling exhibit. The other thing too, for the state of Maryland, we have some possibilities to hold it, especially maybe in Frederick at the Vet Center. of the exhibit. And so we would love to do that and stay in the area. But if not, we will also, will travel.
So there has been some interest expressed in having it come to a particular state. So should they contact you or?
Yes, please do.
Okay, and then this isn't a question, but Ms. Bartlett gave information on helping prepare for the facelift of the memorial. And so she's dropped information into the chat with a link so people can check that out.
Thank you, Tammy.
And then one more question. How do you select whose picture is posted in the museum? I have been there and there are numbers of photos of women.
Well, we have our curator, which is Britta, and it's a panel that we go, and it depends on the situation. And also we just pull stories. We have so many stories to pull from. And so if you want your story to be told and selected, please let us know. And we will give that to Britta, our curator. There's many women that say, for instance, that Native Americans and that wanted their information posted. And so we had a panel and Britta and her team selected who goes on there. So it rotates and not stay stagnant with any panels and also selectees.
Well, thank you, Lucretia. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in the memorial. You fielded a lot of questions there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, one more question. Sorry. Do you have to be a veteran to become an ambassador?
No, ma'am, you do not. Just when we do ask that you register as a friend of the memorial, and you can do that. But we would love to have you volunteer at the memorial.
Thank you again. Okay.
Oh, I see Laura's hand. I'm not sure if I.
Yes. I just want to say, if I could, Rosalind, that if you want to become an ambassador, the WMSA will set you up for success. I mean, I was overwhelmed by, wow, okay, great. This is fantastic. And it's a great way. I mean, they'll set you up with an email, with a business card, with some handouts, with a tablecloth. And it is a great way to volunteer and to involve yourself in outreach wherever you are. If you have like a stand down possibly, or anything that, you can have a table, it is a great way to reach out to women veterans and to basically not just them, but the community. I have a friend of mine and also Lucretia's friend. He is the commander of the VFW, and he said that his brother put his mother on there. And every time that the commander goes to Washington, D.C., he goes there and he pulls up her name and all of her information and her picture, and he just looks at her and he says, tears run down his face, and he's like, hi, Mom. And it's a great way for families and just your community to reach out and recognize women veterans in their service. That's all I have. Thanks. And thank you, Lucretia.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. And that's exactly right. And I share one more thing with you. As many relatives come into the memorial and maybe bring their children, and they don't even know that their grandmother has served, because she only had this narrative, I only served for 3 months, or I only served for a year. And so we have to break that. And so when they did, she did register her story, and they found her. And even at one of the conventions, we found many service members and women service members that have registered their story, and they didn't even know that their grandmother or their mother have served. And so it is it's a wonderful thing to give and present to them, and find that family member, and they see exactly the legacy that continues on. And you're right, Laura, tears come down their faces of the family members. So it is an honor and leaving a legacy.
All right, thank you so much to our panelists and for everyone joining. So we are over time, but we welcome you to stay for any other questions. And if our panelists are able to stay for any other questions, we welcome you. And once again, thank you for everyone. Once you leave the webinar, you will receive a survey and again tomorrow. So we appreciate your comments. And once again, thank you so much to everyone for joining us again. If our panelists are staying, and if anyone else wants to stay for additional questions, you're welcome to. Thanks again, everybody. This ends our webinar.
Rosalind, if I may, let me close out by saying this was even more over the top than I had expected it to be, quite honestly. We reached out across the country, all the way to California. I think Washington State was on, Indiana, of course, was here. And the information that was shared today is just incomparable. Jeff, I want to thank you because so many people don't realize that you're open 24/7. I can share quickly the story where I'm in Lexington Park, you're in Baltimore City. You got the vehicle and came down to Lexington Park and picked that veteran up and drove him back to Baltimore that night. I think it was about a 4-hour trip for you, but you did it by yourself. And I just want everybody to know exactly what McVet, among other organizations, do. But thank you, Rosin, Dana, thank you, Denise, thank you. Thank all the participants today. I think it was, to use a baseball term, out of the park. Thank you all again so much.
Thanks, Mr. Secretary. We appreciate you joining us.
And if I can just mirror the secretary's words, just want to let you know, I was keeping track of participation and it looked like we capped at 90 participants, which was really exciting. We had individuals on the event from Virginia, Prince George's County, Charles County, VA Central Office, California, Rhode Island, Montgomery County, Washington State. So it was just really exciting just to see how, to see the reach for this morning's launch. It wasn't just, you know, specific to Maryland, that we had attendees from all across the country, and someone just commented New Jersey. So this was really great. And I, on behalf of the entire 3-person outreach team at MDVA, just and to mirror the words of the secretary, thank you so much to the panelists for participating. And Rosalind, I'm just so excited to have you with us. And to everyone that's still on the call, that is evidence to say that there's value in this program being established here in Maryland. So
thank you so much. Denise, do we have any more questions?
We do, but it's not directed towards a particular panelist.
Okay.
Can we talk about the disparity in compensation between men and women? Men are rated much higher than women.
Well, I can tell you that with our partnership with the VA, those are some of the issues that when we host our listening sessions, that we'll be able to discuss and, you know, take those questions to the people that they need to be taken to. So we, in our particular department, we don't have some of those authorities to make decisions like that, but we can forward those concerns to the people that do have influence and can make those changes, if you will, or at least introduce them.
Okay. And then Lucretia, someone said that they looked at your website and it says that the monument memorial will actually be closed on November 13th. They're just, I guess, verifying that if that is correct or if it's the end of the month.
Well, for visitors, we're packing up. Let me clarify. We're packing up after our last program, but we're still having people come in. You probably can't see all of the exhibits, but we will close at the end of November, especially prior to Thanksgiving. So it will be officially closed prior to Thanksgiving, and I think that's that Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
I think this speaks to the excitement of how many people want to visit.
Come visit us. Even if you have to do a virtual visit, I know it's not the same, but please come visit us. And we're excited to have you. Hopefully everyone can join us November the 11th for the wreath laying ceremony. It's going to be spectacular.
Lucretia, I have a quick question. Is the gift shop going to be open as far as like online during that time?
It will. The gift shop, thank you, Laura. The gift shop will remain open online. And so if you want to purchase something from the gift store, please, by all means, use our womensmemorial.org and you go to the gift shop.
Perfect. Thank you.
And then we have a
Thank you.
question, how does Maryland find women veterans?
Well, for one thing, one of the things we plan to do again is as we're hosting the listening sessions and gathering information, we definitely do have a newsletter that goes out every month, twice a month. And if you're signing up for that newsletter, we can capture your information there. But with the listening sessions, if you want to be part of a particular group and be contacted, we'll definitely be putting some of those things into place.
And if I could just kind of piggyback on that, we've forged a partnership with the Maryland Commission for Women. And Rosalind's going to be working closely with the Maryland Commission. In recent months, we learned that there are a number of counties across Maryland that have local county commissions for women. And hopefully we can leverage that partnership as Rosalind begins to expand her outreach to utilize that partnership to make those connections. And we do have close working relationships with all of the local county veterans commissions as well. And hopefully we can leverage those relationships to ensure that Rosalind's message is getting down to the local level. And when she decides down the road how she's going to maintain regular contact with women who have served, she'll be able to share how she's going to be communicating with our local veteran commissions, who ideally will then be able to filter it down to the community.
If I
Can I
might
add very quickly,
well, there's a legislative caucus made up of women. It's the Women's Legislative Caucus in the General Assembly, made up of both the senators and the delegates. And we are interacting and have been interacting with them for quite some time. In fact, a couple pieces of legislation emanate from that organization, as a matter of fact. So it's an across the board outreach program type of event that we're trying to create here.
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I also add that sometimes the identification of a female women, that they are even qualified under the category of veterans, sometimes the definition gets lost. I know that a lot of times we'll do work outreach in shelters and sometimes going to see incarcerated women and just letting them know that their period of service still qualifies them as a veteran. So I do believe that one of the issues that can be addressed is making sure that our women veterans make sure they identify themselves as veterans and deserving of service.
And additionally, one of the terms we want to make sure that we keep in front of people are women veterans and women that have served. So we want to make sure that we're appealing to all women that have served, whether they, are considered, a veteran by time in service or not. So if you're a woman who have served, we still want to hear from you.
That's good, Rosalind, because that's the same thing I was going to say. That's the narrative that the Center for Women Veterans also is pushing, to make sure that you served. You said, yes, I will protect and defend. And so you are considered in that category. And so thank you for clarifying that and bringing that up.
We did have one question about help with a claim for a veteran. So I've dropped the MDVA service and benefits program information into the chat. Please contact us if you do need help with your claim. And Lucretia, there's one more for you. When a woman is chosen to be displayed at the memorial, her photo, do you notify that person?
Yes, they do. Britta reaches out and asks permission first, if that's okay to have her displayed for all to see, of course, at the Women's Memorial.
I think we have covered it all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having the National Association on board.
Absolutely. Thank you all. This was great. And I'm so excited for everything. Thank you so much, Dana. You did an awesome job. Ms. Denise, you did an awesome job as well. Thank you all of our panelists. Great information.